on Thursday, May 21st at 6:02 p.m. We're going to start off with our presentation of the wastewater treatment rate study. Brendan, you're up.
Thank you. I'm Brandon Barcole with Adobe Cronin Associates, and I have Michelle Davis here with us as well. We're both municipal advisors with the firm, and we've been working with Jared Hall, partner, on the project, getting together the rate study, which we looked at the financial picture of the utility. We're accounting for the proposed wastewater treatment plant project, and wanted to share with you all the results, our findings, and our recommendation based on how everything shook out in the rates. Go ahead and go to the first slide for me, Michelle. So to kind of set a baseline, what I wanted to do is just give everyone an overview of where the utility is right now. The current wastewater rates and charges are effective as of January. So there was a rate ordinance last passed in 2023, and that had additional 3% increases from then on every January 1st until 2028. So what our rate study did was we looked at the information that came from 2025. So what we did there is looked at the phase 2 rates, whereas everyone right now is in phase 3. So I just want to make that distinction as we move forward. But for currently the phase 3 rates, we have two figures there, the 3,000 gallon, 4,000 gallon rate. 3,000 gallons is very close to what I believe is the average of the town. It's actually 2,700 when I look at the billing data for 2025, but I just wanted to use 3,000 for the presentation. We also have 4,000 in there, which is the state average, and this is going to be more in line with what we see with other communities. This is also the benchmark that Oprah uses, Indiana Bond Bank, and SRF. So just to kind of give a bit of context as to, you know, where we might compare you to other communities in the state, but at the same time want to make sure that everyone understands what the impact is for an actual residential user here in town. The Indiana Code here, Chapter 36 references revenue requirements for public works or sewage utilities, and it lays out these items here: operation and maintenance expense, debt service on existing or proposed debt, and we also have working capital, debt service reserves, and depreciation. So all of those pieces together make up the revenue requirements for any utility in Indiana. So we want to make sure that when we do our rate study, we're following these guidelines and want to make sure that what we have in the rate study is going to be able to cover these set revenue requirements. And the language actually says shall be sufficient or something along those lines. And what that means is, you know, as a council, it's important to understand that in order for these rates to be sufficient, they need to cover these items, and we have done that in our analysis. The next slide here just kind of gives a general overview of the process. I have copies of the rate study if anyone would like to see that, but this is generally the overview that we have here in the PowerPoint. I'm happy to go through and answer detailed questions about the financials, the billing data, and so on and so forth. I think it would make more sense here in this group to look at what we have here on the PowerPoint, but I just want to make note of that. We do have those reports here if anyone wants to look at those in more detail. For a rate study, we typically will go through this process. First, we look at the financial and billing information for the utility. We looked at 2023, 2024, and 2025, whereas 2025 is the test year. And as I had mentioned, phase 2 rates, those are going to be the rates that we're using for our projections. So what we have tonight in the rate ordinance is actually going to override what had been passed initially. So this is basically a whole new set of rates and charges. Anything that was in that 2023 ordinance would otherwise be void. But just to give an understanding of, you know, where our baseline is, it's 2025, the most recent 12-month period. Then we look at the revenue requirements of the utility, as I had mentioned, with the Indiana Code. We look at each of those pieces, comparing where you're at right now and where you're at with the project in mind. And then here we are tonight to present that to you all. The next slide here will show the sources and uses of funds for the project. So this is the figures here at the top, the $1,236,000. That is the base bid plus alternate 1 plus alternate 2, and this is per the lowest bidder. So what we've done here is built out a $940,000 bond that we're recommending to go with Indiana Bond Bank. If it moves forward, then there would be a meeting in June where our firm would present this to the Indiana Bond Bank, and they would be the bondholders for the future wastewater project. So I'm also accounting for the Okra grant funding, and we'll look in a bit more detail in a few slides on how that impacts the rates. And we've also have other costs in here that are very standard with any bond issue. We have construction contingency that we've worked with the engineers to come up to 5%. And then we also have engineering fees and costs of issuance. So that's going to be financial and legal fees that are related to the borrowing. The next slide here shows our pro forma revenue requirements. If you were to look page by page through our report, this would be the one schedule that I believe will make the most sense and be the most important for everyone here to look at. So we have 2 columns here, test year, which is 2025, and proposed. So what I wanted to do was show where the utility is right now in 2025 and then compare that to where we would anticipate it to be in the next 3 or 4 years. So we have it at the top there, operating disbursement. So we can see in the test year, it was a little shy of $300,000. That's the operation and maintenance expenses of the sewer utility. We would recommend to adopt rates that would cover about $322,000. And what we've done here is gone expense line by line item to look at what had happened in previous years and make adjustments moving forward. We want to make sure that the rates and charges that we're recommending tonight and eventually in the public hearing, we want to make sure that those are going to be able to be sufficient for the next few years. So that's the change there. And then $115,000 a year, that is the existing 2017 principal and interest payment. Then the next change you'll see is the proposed bond. So in order to pay for the $940,000 portion, the bond payment, it would be $76,475. So, but at the last line there is depreciation and working capital. We also want to make sure that the utility has sufficient bond coverage. So this is a requirement on the bonds. Right now, your coverage is a little around 125%, which is right where it needs to be. With these new bonds, we want to make sure that you have bond coverage for your existing bonds, the new bonds, and then also be able to offset any changes in your costs in the next 2 years. So the minimum requirement by Indiana Bond Bank, that would be the lender of the 2026 bonds. They require 125% coverage, and this is a calculation of revenues and expenses. We're recommending 140%. And the reason why we want to make sure that this is going to be sufficient for the next few years. As your costs will go up, your coverage will start to go down. But if we set you right at 125%, then you would no longer be in compliance with the new bond covenant. So that's a bit more context there. The bottom line there shows the revenue shortfall and change. So basically, with where your utility is at right now, you're covering your revenues and expenses from an operation perspective, and you're covering your bond payments. To move forward with the project, this would be the impact on the rates in order to pay for the new bonds. On the next slide to show. Here are some various monthly bill comparisons. So I've got a few different scenarios here. The one that's highlighted is what we're recommending in the rates today. Again, I mentioned 3,000 versus 4,000 gallons. 3,000 more in line with what a community resident would be paying on a monthly basis, whereas 4,000, that helps me and other lending agencies see where the rates are falling. So for the base plus alternate 1 and alternate 2, it's at $83.91. I want you to look over on the right-hand side, base only and base plus alternate 1. Those are just various scenarios as to what the savings would look like if you were to do those different scenarios. So whether you're borrowing $940,000, $720, or $865, it's going to relatively be within that $80 to $85 range for 3,000 gallons. I also wanted to show the variance when you look at the Okra grant. I think it's really important to know that the Okra grant is saving the community $12 to $14 a month for 20 years. Every month, that's going to go a long way, and I think it's great that the town was able to get that Okra grant. The effective rate increase is listed here below. And what that means is that's the actual increase as of someone's rate today, which varies differently than what we had in our rate study because it was a change of 2025 versus 2026. So I wanted to note that as well. The next slide here shows a rate comparison with other communities in Indiana. So what I want everyone to understand about this is what I can see from doing rate studies and working with other sewer utilities, water utilities, electric utilities, all around Indiana. I can tell you that everyone has different rates, and what tends to change the most is project needs. That's going to drive, for most communities, rate studies. Some communities, they might have a really outdated system and they're paying $60 a month, but in the next 5 years, when they go ahead and change their systems, borrow money, a lot of the time that's going to drive it up. So what we're seeing, the trend right now for wastewater utilities is that it is around $100 a month when you're borrowing money. And that's with SRF, Indiana Bond Bank, USDA. These are state agencies that lend money to water and sewer utilities specifically. So in the SRF utility, or the SRF utility program specifically, we work closely with them, and they tell us that they do not consider communities for additional grant funding on a wastewater project unless they're hitting that $100 threshold. And majority of the SRF closings lately have been above $100. With that being said, you could compare yourself to anyone in Indiana, and there could be some utilities that are paying $30 a month, some that are paying $130. It all depends on the needs, but I think what's most important for the council and the town to understand is that to move forward with this project, this is what the cost is going to be for the average ratepayer. Some of those recently closed SRF deals that we've worked on in the last couple of years are actually the top 4: New Palestine, Ashley, Sullivan, and Nashville. So there are a handful of communities that we know for sure that they've had closings in the last few years with SRF. It makes sense that they're kind of in that range, as the SRF folks have mentioned as well. Last slide here, page 8, just a general overview of our findings. I think that with where the utility is now, everything's in good shape. Operations look good. I'm glad to be standing up here today and say that you're in good shape, because a lot of the times I come into this situation and I say, okay, well, we need a 50% increase just to get you back whole, and then we're going to do some on top of that, right, for a project. But that's not where we're at here. You know, this rate increase would be solely by the project. Otherwise, everything's in good shape. Those are the proposed monthly sewer bills for 3,000 or 4,000 gallons. We're recommending to have those implemented in August. I think that just gives enough time for the timing of the process for the rates. Here we are in late May. June would be the public hearing, July would be the usage period, and then August would then be the first billing. That also gives the utility enough time to generate revenues that are needed for the bond payments. The bond payments need to have a 6-month buildup in order to make that payment because of the transfers that the clerk's office has to make monthly. So we needed to make sure that the utility would cash flow in order to make that first payment, and with this August recommendation, the utility will be able to do that. Also included in the rate ordinance to continue on with the practice that we saw in the 2023 ordinance, there are continued 3% increases. That first one wouldn't be until 2028, so it'd be January 1, 2028, 29, and 2030. That is not included in the rate study and not in the calculation, but what that's going to do is help offset any future cost increases and continue to maintain the required bond coverage for these 2026 proposed bonds. Are there any questions that I can answer on our rate study and our findings related to the financial position of the utility and how everything shakes out with the project from a financial perspective?
A lot of information. You presented it well. I will give you props for that.
Thank you.
I don't have any questions right in this moment, but
Okay.
give me a while to,
Yeah.
and maybe.
Sleep on it and then give us a call.
I'm sure Teresa has your number.
Yeah. She had done a great job of giving me feedback on our rate study and our PowerPoint, and also helped me understand questions that you all might have, and I think that is showing here. So a lot of the different things we put in there were helpful from her, so.
I like that you did the 3,000 gallon and the 4,000 gallon.
Yeah, and again, 2,700 is the true
Yeah.
average. I think 3,000 just made sense for me. 4,000 though does help me kind of get a gist of where everyone is, because I'm looking at 4,000 gallon rates for various communities on a
Well,
weekly
that's what
basis.
everybody looks at. So.
Right, so, but for you all, it's good to understand that what the true impact is of somebody here, for their monthly bill.
So was it actually figured on 4,000 overall people using, or it was figured on 27?
So the rates that I show here when I said 3,000 or 4,000 gallons, that is a calculation that comes after the fact. When we do our calculation, we're actually looking at revenues and expenses, and any shortfall then is a percentage. So then we take that percentage across all the rates, and then so I could plug in what's 2,000 gallons, what's 4,000 gallons, and I can just kind of show you that. But for the purposes of the presentation, I just wanted to make sure that we use 3,000 as just kind of a benchmark for understanding.
But from a community standpoint, like if we had 80% using the 4,000 and above, from 30% when we say all the families grew, like it was single households and now like family, so you're using more, so that bond would actually possibly pay down faster, or?
Okay, yeah, I understand what you're asking. So there are certain requirements within the bond ordinance as to when you can pay that back. So it's usually, it's like a 10-year or a 15-year call, or then you can make those determinations. So the way I see growth, how that impacts this, any growth would offset any future increases that are needed. Would you go back to the revenue requirement schedule? Okay, it'll kind of help understand the model and kind of how it all works. So I look at these four numbers here, from operating down to the depreciation, and then of course the shortfalls where we're at now. So your new revenue base is essentially $590,000. So what is likely to occur is that your operating costs are going to increase. I don't know if anyone pays less than they did 10 years ago in anything, especially with COVID, right? So I think that's a pretty safe bet, okay? So then we have your two bond payments. The way that the bonds are structured is that they're level debt service. So that means that you're paying the same amount, give or take a few $1,000s every year, okay? So when the bonds are callable down the road, you would have the option, if you had cash that had built up from growth, you could pay that off. And then what that would show here is that, and you no longer have that payment. So that would be an option. Another thing to consider is if your revenue base continues to grow, and those single family households, they go from 2 to 3 to 4 people, you're able to use that growth to then offset any future shortfalls. But those would be conversations that would be had down the road. I think for right now, what's important is that the utility, we have to show to Indiana Bond Bank that you can make these payments today. It's like when you go out and get a mortgage, say, well, I'm gonna get a raise next year. And it's like, well, and show me your pay stubs, and then that's the money that we're gonna use. So then that might give you flexibility in the future for sure. So it's a good point to ask.
Any other questions? I don't think so. Very well explained.
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle.
All right, I guess now that we've got the basis understanding, now we call on Judd and the bond counsel, Sarah. We go from one to the other, one to the other.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'm Sarah Carell with Heiss Miller. We're really excited to serve as bond counsel to the town. We have 2 ordinances for your introduction tonight. We are not asking for a vote on either one because we know that, like you said, it's It's a lot of information to take on, and they're pretty thick documents, even printed double-sided. It's a lot of paper. So we will take them in the order that they are here. The first is the bond ordinance, and that's the really long one. What the bond ordinance does is authorize the project. It authorizes maximum amounts for the borrowing and the project spending. Those amounts, you'll notice, are considerably higher than what we're actually considering. It also authorizes the town to participate in the Indiana Bond Bank. And as you know, you are required in order to receive those Ochre grant funds, we do have to have a local match. So it also authorizes that. To your question earlier about early payoff on the bonds, we try to keep things as flexible as possible in the bond ordinance. We don't want the ordinance to be the reason that we can't do anything. But I would say it's typical of the bond bank to require a 10-year call period. That's what we're saying right now. Does anyone have any questions on the bond ordinance? Yes, sir.
On that 10-year period, is this the language that does what you're saying? On page 14, section 3B, it says the bonds are redeemable at the option of the town on any date.
Yep.
With the initial redemption date no later than 10 years after their date of delivery. No
That's
later
correct.
than- So if you're going to redeem, you have to do it within early. You have to do it within the first 10 years?
No, so that language actually sets when when the first date can be.
Okay.
So we're saying that from the bond purchaser perspective, that we would like that date to be no later than 10 years. And then after that 10 years are over, the initial call period, then it's any time after that, the town could redeem early. We also have drafted it in such a way that a couple sentences further down, it says with the input of the municipal advisor. So we'll kick it back over to Brandon and his team to negotiate that. If we can get a better term, we'll take it.
Another question.
Yeah.
The funds that are to be created, like the operation and maintenance fund and the sinking fund, if those were, you already have those funds, right? Okay, so you were using the same funds.
Yeah, the only fund that will be new is a new reserve account for the fund or for the bonds. We will hold a separate reserve that's a little bit less restrictive than the 2017. The 2017 bonds don't require a common reserve, so we will have a separate one for these new bonds that will hopefully allow us to be able to hold a little bit less, tie up a little bit less money.
You guys have a question for us?
And these are the maximums, so as we finish what we're gonna do, and if we're gonna do, that can change, like what our final can change.
Correct, we can go down, we just can't go up.
Typically, we had worked with Sarah to give her those numbers, and when we make those recommendations, we want to make sure that there's no chance that you're going to be borrowing that much, so that when we go through the legal process, you have all the flexibility that you need to have the kinds of conversations that you want to have tonight. If we had just said, oh, well, we don't necessarily have the best estimate right now, and say we made it $1 million, and then we would have to do all this over again. So it's really just our recommendations on the rate study are purely based on the numbers, whereas the 2 million that's in there is just solely so that you guys have flexibility.
Do we just take this and advise it tonight, or do we,
It's just
is there
introduced tonight.
anything? we have
Just
to-
introduction.
Just introductions, all
Yep.
right.
And so we will be back at our next regular council meeting for the bond ordinance. The other ordinance that you have in front of you is the rate ordinance, and this is also just introduction. This one, because we do need to publish a public notice 10 days before the hearing, this is the one that we will come back to the special meeting, just to make sure everybody has plenty of time to know about it. We will come back for that special meeting on June 8th for a public hearing and a vote on the rate ordinance.
Sounds not clear. is long.
This one is much shorter, yeah. So the rate ordinance is really just the formalization of the rate study that Brandon presented. This is based 100% on their numbers. And much like the bond ordinance, we can go down, we just can't exceed these rates. So once we have introduced tonight and published that advertisement, should you decide after the hearing or after some decisions are made on the projects, we could lower these numbers, we just can't increase them without republishing and doing a new hearing. Any questions on the rate ordinance?
Nope, I don't have any questions.
Okay, all right. Makes my job easy tonight, yeah?
And the notice for that
Yes.
is gonna be, am I sending that to you tomorrow morning or you?
I will send it to you and it'll be ready.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Alright. Yes, we're gonna move on to public comments. You are public tonight? Yep.
Or, I guess it's a comment. I live at 27 West 7th Street,
Okay,
and behind me is 623 Gregory Lane. It's been a drug house, it's been dog complaints, it's been people running from the police, it's been, last summer for 2 months, the police, state police were there, county police, Jason was there, because this kid ran from Jason through a cornfield. Now, he's back there. He's back. And the problem that we're having and the neighbors are having, and I took some pictures of the house, it's turning into a junkyard. True. Everybody's kind of concerned about what's going on there. They threw some trash in the backyard. I mean, I live by 80-year-old women that take care of their homes better than this. Whoever runs this house, I don't know.
it's Gregory, it's one behind, you go through the
past
stuff,
you.
yeah, on the other
It's
side
long,
of the,
yeah, you can't.
it's a long field.
But the grass, as you'll see, is well over 10, 12 inches. But there is electricity on there. Someone did put the garbage can out front. Why they don't use it is beyond me. I have no idea. But you have to, I've lived by this house since '87.
Oh, my.
So I dealt with this since I've lived here. And I can't believe it's still going on. I can't. I don't know what the answer is. That's the backyard. I don't know what the town can do. I mean, I guess, is he paying his property tax? I don't know. I don't even know who owns the damn place. But there seems to be nothing being done. You know what I'm saying? We got elderly people, we got a new couple that just moved to the north of this place with young children. Now, the other couple lives right by and moved out, and I can see why. So I hope that doesn't set a precedent.
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm saying is, any help you can give us would be appreciated.
So who lives there now?
Well, it's a guy by the name of Ryan Sanders. And,
By himself?
well, Alyssa Muncie lived there. I've seen her there not too long ago, but, you know, I hate, she's due for, to turn herself in to Tippecanoe County Jail on work release because she cut her monitor off her leg. Yeah, I mean, you got it all there. Yeah, I mean, you guys probably remember that pig that was down there. You know? years ago, there was a lady that died in there. I don't know if you ever knew that, but it's a constant common nuisance. You know, I don't know what the law in Indiana is for common, you might know. Huh? What is
Well, so what was the address again?
623 Gregory Lane?
So to be a common nuisance, they've got to maintain a property that meets the definition of a public nuisance, which is anything that's irritating or offending or something to the public. So
Okay,
that would be a determination for the police, because it's a crime. It's not a,
the police has to file that,
investigate it and file it
and then what
with
is
the
the,
with the prosecutor's office.
oh, well, very good. What's the penalty for that? Does that fall back on the owner, because the renter, but the people in there probably don't pay rent, if anything,
It does fall back on the,
and then the owner has to do one.
I think that would be a class 6 felony, a low felony. I think, I was a prosecutor here, and we used a different scheme. It was a class B felony when I was a prosecutor. And that would have been 0 to 18 months in jail. I mean, they never get jail for maintaining a common nuisance, so you should get
No.
probation and get fined.
Well, they don't get jail for running from the police either. I mean, that house was manufacturing methamphetamine. That house, those people live there, 2 convictions on methamphetamine. And he got probation for running. He had a warrant on methamphetamine. So
Is
I
it-
don't know what the answer is, but I know a lot of people are kind of getting fed up with it. I don't know what to do about it. I mean, I'm not, I can't look at police reports anymore. I don't know how to.
Robert Brown is the deeded owner. I mean, I'm not saying he is occupying it, but on the GIS website, it shows Robert Brown as the owner.
Well, you can probably find him in jail. You know,
And he's owned it since 2018, so he may not, if he's in jail, maybe they are just squatters living there and doing what.
no, they're not squatters. Alyssa was related to him. This Sanders kid was a live-in boyfriend. It's quite a dilemma. You wouldn't believe it. Shit.
Well, just even
So-
the junk and trash around it, that should.
What's that?
Even the junk and trash around it. We've got the town ordinance of
Yeah.
grass, junk.
Well, see, I got the newsletter, and what got me thinking was your nuisance law.
Yeah.
So, some of the people down there, don't wanna get involved, and I don't blame them, because they're elderly, but there's been you name it, it's in everything, and nothing's been done.
Okay.
So I don't know if this Robert Brown is in jail. He lived there one time, and he was wearing an ankle bracelet. He moved up to Monticello, and he's no good either, I'll be honest with you. So, but it's just turning into a dump yard. It really is.
That would need to go through Jason.
We will definitely.
Well, we
check
appreciate that, really.
And Jason may need you to come in and fill out paperwork or whatever.
What's that?
Jason may need you to come in and issue the formal complaint.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. It's just a nuisance. I don't know what else to say.
I agree.
And, the courts aren't doing anything about it, so nobody know where to turn.
Yeah, at least get it cleaned
We
up.
can get it cleaned up. So,
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Anyway,
You know what I'm talking about.
thanks for letting us know. Yes. All right, we're gonna move on to Mr. Dave.
Okay. First item we have tonight is the recommendation for the wastewater treatment project on the bid results. Chris has a memo that he's given, I think, a copy to everybody. He wants us to do that.
Yeah, so this is a memo summarizing the 4 bids that were received for the wastewater system improvement project. We received 4 qualified bids from the different contractors here. There's a table listing their bid amounts for the base bid, alternate bid number 1, and alternate bid number 2.
as we've discussed a little bit here, FH Passion is the apparent low bidder, and their bid amounts have been certified, so they are the low bidder. With base bid amount of $1,026,000, alternate bid number one of $138,607, and alternate bid number two, $71,429. Taking those as a total, we're at $1,236,036, which is approximately 25% higher than what the engineer's estimate was for the total project.
Sorry, what was that difference again?
About 25%. So, in reviewing the bids, there is some deviation between a few of the specific pay items, mostly related to equipment and structures of the wastewater treatment plant. And there was also variability between the different bidders for those items as well. When looking at the alternate bids, as well as the sewer lining that's included in the base bid, those were more comparable. There was less variability between the bidders' amounts and the engineer's estimate, and between each of the individual bidders themselves. So those numbers were better reflecting expectations. So after our discussion this morning, we did get a hold of FH Passion, and Dave and I had a short conversation with them to get on their radar that we were going to be investigating the opportunity to have some value engineering. They were open and receptive to that. It was a very positive meeting, so we were encouraged to hear how that went. They're already thinking of different ideas that they have on their end, and corroborated some of the ideas we had on our end as well. So we've got a fair degree of confidence that we can get a project that meets your needs and delivers the end product that we really need within the budget range that we can manage here. So at this point, we are recommending, taking under advisement the low bid with FH Passion, and we're recommending proceed with the base bid as well as alternate bids number one and number two. Judd, I don't know what action we need to take tonight or how we can do that.
They are just going to receive that information and table it until you determine the funding source in amount, right? I don't want, if you accept the bid, I mean, I don't know what parts of the bid with alternates or without alternates. So they're the low bidder that's been certified. Now you take that under advisement until you figure out what you're going to pay for.
Right.
Apply it to that bid.
We'll take the bid and recommendation of FH, how you say that? Passion as our lowest bidder, and we will take under advisement until we figure out our money source.
Motion second, or if I can go
Nope,
on.
you're good.
Okay. I'll just be real brief with project updates. We had a very nice dedication ceremony last Saturday for the Briar Memorial Trailhead Park. Lots of family members were there. The rain held off. And we've since had a walkthrough for the trail project itself with the DNR present to do the final inspection. The DNR had no comments to report. We noted there's some stone along the edge of several sections of the trail that we'd like raked up and areas graded and reseeded. So that's really the only outstanding work before we'll come before you with the final pay application to release the retainage to milestone on that project. And along with the trail, you can probably mention it later, I don't know if it's in the agenda, but we are having a dedication ceremony a week from tomorrow for the trail project. And the DNR will be there at that and also speak. That's for 1 o'clock on the 29th, Friday the 29th. Couple quick updates on CCMG projects. I did get a response today from the contractor for crack sealing, and you are next on the list.
Yay.
I don't know what day that means, but it has to do a lot with weather right now. So he has not forgotten, and I offered to meet him out here and do a walkthrough since it's been a minute. that we've talked about it or looked at the streets to make sure that nothing needs to change with the scope of what he's gonna do. He will probably do some cleaning of the streets before he starts. It might just be blowing out the cracks and not wholesale street sweeping, so. And then the 2026 CCMG project that the town was awarded kind of last minute with some of that extra funds from NDOT. Treva has forwarded me the purchase order, so my next step is to issue the notice to proceed to the contractor and schedule a pre-construction meeting and talk schedule with them about when they're gonna come in town. There may be some other areas that we want to look at as well when that day comes, so. That's really it, I think, unless there's anything else you think of, Treva, that I should talk about.
No, but should the council consider a special meeting to just talk about if the changes to, if we're going to, or what the process would be to?
For the scope of the wastewater project,
Yes,
We can
now we're
certainly
not
do that.
2 weeks later.
or we could do a smaller
Running into that.
working group that could get more in the weeds on the technical stuff. Really that structure around the headworks structure and pump house, their response on today's call wasn't necessarily good. We didn't want to build that anyway, but they also saw the same challenges and difficulties that drove cost on their end that we would like to meet with them. I think it would be good for us to have the meeting with the contractor and discuss the value engineering ideas and order of magnitude of what those reductions might look like. And then either meet with the whole council or meet with just the work group to avoid having to have a formal advertised council meeting, essentially, and do it a little quicker that way.
Could do a work session. Stuff. It's a public meeting, but that doesn't have to be noticed.
Okay,
Just
just
for
no decision made.
administrator, yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to schedule that sooner rather than later, or,
Well,
I mean, we still have to advertise it, so.
if it's just a work session, I guess you don't have to advertise it, but we wouldn't make any decisions, it would just be
Right,
discussion.
it's just be discussions.
So we can reach out to them and try to get something set up after Memorial Day weekend. I assume tomorrow probably wouldn't work, but
If you want it before your next council meeting, it's got to be next week. I'm out of the country, but
yeah.
Where are you going?
Bahamas?
The Bahamas.
You can call me it.
Yeah.
Still, no, sorry.
That's all right, yeah, darn it. Yeah, we'll push to try to get it set up early next week.
We already have a special session on the 8th.
Okay. That's all I got.
Okay, all right.
All right, Mr. Tim Kirkhoff, you're up.
I think that means me too.
Sure. If you're his
I got my
technical
helper.
I'm
advisor.
his secretary, right? I'm his technical advisor. These are your words. Yes, unfortunately, we're short some copies, so if somebody can share, we'd be happy to, get you all copies. Sure, oh, we didn't see a good enough, thank you. Yes.
All right, we have a full house tonight.
Thank you, Judd.
Thanks.
Another one of these. There you go. Okay. Now you're up.
Okay.
Just hand it
My
over
name's
to
Ted
you.
Kirkhoff. This is my wife Julie. I think most of you know us. If not, we are. I'm here to talk about some approvals that we'd like to get on the park for 2026. But first of all, I thought we'd review a little bit about what 2025 happened in, yes.
Ron. Go out.
Thank you.
Go ahead, sorry.
Okay, so we'd like to do with 2020. So the first picture that you see is what the courts look like after we renovated them. And just to talk about some of the things that did get completed in 2025, you've got this list that tells you what I'm going to be talking about, but also the things that happened. I'm going to go through these pretty quick. Our donations, we had a matching grant fund with Benton Community Foundation. We exceeded the match considerably. And so we was able to do more things. We did a retaining wall, or we moved a fence last year that you guys approved. But we also, we have all new nets, we have maintenance equipment. We started on the social area. We've got water and electric to the courts now. We've done training classes. We updated the pavilion, if anybody noticed all the wild colors that we painted down there. That was pretty good. But the biggest thing that probably moved us the most for 2026 is park usage is up. Now, I have spies that work for me that run around and see what's happening at the park. And so this winter, I did a lot of research on parks just to find out what's parks mean to a small town. And the statistics is astounding. And you'll see on the back page, there is, if you want to read it yourself, you can read about it, about what parks can do for people. Green space, mental health, just health benefits, recreation, value of property. They had values of property from 5 to 20% if you're within a block or 500 feet of a nice park. Park values go up, or home values go up between 5 to 20%. Pretty interesting numbers. So that made us move to 2026. And all of a sudden, it wasn't about pickleball courts anymore. It was about the people. We've seen more usage in the park. We see little kids down there with their families and this type of thing. So what our team has done is suggested that we get another grant, which we applied for another grant. And what we want to do, we have a phase 2 that you approved back in September. But through my hindsight, I should have got a little bit more approved than I did. So if you turn to this page right here, it shows a diagram of the proposed sidewalks and a donor building. This ties into the asphalt that's there where you park now. Does that make sense for everybody where you're at? Okay. So what we'd like to do is put this in and extend our phase 2 extension into approval into this so we can go ahead and move forward. The sidewalks are all going to be minimum 4 feet wide. They're probably going to be a little wider than that because Julie and I have been walking side by side, as well as a number of people have been walking side by side, and you don't fit real well on a 3-foot sidewalk, and we don't really hardly fit on a 4-foot sidewalk. So it's probably going to be a little bit wider than 4 foot, but it's going to be a minimum of 4 foot, which is substantial. The reason the little curve at the end, that bubble, that is for wheelchair to pass. You have to have, I believe for ADA compliant, you're going to have every 500 feet or something like that, you have to have a place where 2 wheelchairs can pass. So that's what that is. So there's that pavilion, it's all painted up here. If you turn the page, you're going to see, what are you going to see? Oh, you're going to see what the pavilion would look like at night. And that is your pavilion. That is the park's pavilion with lights. So it's kind of attractive. It's amazing what AI can do for you. The next page shows the sidewalk and kind of one of what we perceive as the sidewalks in the park. We'd like to put in some small berms, not bushes, nothing that's really high maintenance, but more just grassy areas that has a berm. This is the best representation I could find of that picture. So that's what we have. We like the benches that's offset from the sidewalk. So that's what we're striving for as we talk about more sidewalks. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. But right now, the main thing is getting that first thing approved. Next page is the donor building. This donor building has been donated, the whole thing. It's not built, it's sitting in my garage. I'd like to get it out. Von Tobel, Lumber in Lafayette and KA Components, they built everything for this. So all we got to do is assemble it. But I need to put it on a slab. I don't need a foundation. This is a mobile, you can move this building, but you need to fasten it to something. And so when you look at the second page, you'd see where we actually locate it.
Where's that going? Yeah, back on page
Playground
two.
equipment.
And the reason we,
Back on page two, Jackie. They were still-
it's the second page, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that page. You can see it right here, right there.
So is it in the middle of the playground equipment?
It is.
with The kids running back?
That's where I have it at the moment. But, like I say, it can be moved, but the reason we put it there, the number one reason we put it there is for the donors. We have, I didn't count the donors. I don't know if you've ever been to the baseball field, we have a donor recognition thing when you walk in. We have a lot more donors than they have. So we have a lot of interest in the park for people who live in town as well as outside, people that have donated. And we want to recognize them. We said that we'd recognize them, so this is how we were going to do it. Does it have to be there? No, it doesn't have to be there. But where do you put it to get the whole advantage of it? It's 360 degree. If you look at the donor building, there's a seating all the way around it. So you can sit anywhere and see from one side to the other. But yes, is it between the swing set and the other? Yes, it is. It's 8 foot wide. So I don't know if that's a huge deal, but
And the distance, because I asked you that, the total distance, because I need a visual. I said to Tim, so if it's 8 foot wide, how much space is here? How much is left, whatever? So what did you tell me the distance is in here?
there's 35 feet, the minimum between anything, between the fences, between the pavilion.
So it looks big, to me, it looks big here, but when I think of being 8 foot of 35,
Yeah.
just kind of giving, if anybody else needs a vision.
The concrete that surrounds the pavilion is more than 5 feet wide for handicapped that can run around the outside. So the idea was to recognize the donors because obviously they're the ones that helped make this happen. And so that's why we have that. Next page is the sail shade. This is the social area. It's already being built. The retaining wall's in, this fence is in, and you can see people are kind of happy sitting there. That is one page. We also made a little, it's big enough that we can put games on one end of it, like cornhole, or we can put hopscotch or things like that. We thought that was a good idea. Next page is same thing, except it's just a little bit lower angle. I thought it was a pretty picture, so I thought I'd show it to you. And then this page is what we perceive the park to be at some point in time. If you look, this is what we need approval on to get the concrete in and put the building in. And then the sail shades. But if you look at the green area, you'll see sidewalks. Now, I didn't put the sidewalks in curved. I didn't put it the way they would probably go. I just put them in there. And if you make 2.5 trips around the park, or I think it's maybe 3 trips, you do a mile. So the objective is to have loops. If we have loops, more people use it. If you look at the statistics, seniors, people, all kinds of people will use the park far more with a loop than if it's an in and out. So they're looking for loops. So we created several loops with this. Now, whether or not how much money it takes to do all this, we're not suggesting that we're doing this right now, but depending on how much money we'll be back to say we'd like to put more sidewalks in. But the idea is to create more paths and trails within the park. And then eventually someday, we'd like to tie into your new line that you have out here. And there's several ways to do that, but they all cost money, so.
If you find me something free, let me know.
And then the last page is just shows the diagram of the sidewalk. But also, if you want to read about parks, put that into your URL and look at it. You'll be amazed what you find. One of the things that we talked about that we could do, because I know it was concerned about where the donor thing is. If you look at this, here's parking, there's where we're projecting it to go. But you could, without too much trouble, move it. Just imagine that's a sidewalk. But we could move it over here.
And now it's not in the way of this. It eliminates that, but still, you get 360-degree view. So I think anywhere in here works. I don't know that anybody, we're trying to get when people come into the courts or people come into the park, they see the donor. It's a nice building, it's low maintenance, and they see their name. And hopefully they're gonna want to continue to donate, so we can continue to upgrade the park. It is about sales a little bit here. I mean, we have to, after you go see everybody one time, the second time you go see it, it's not as easy. I'm finding out. So, but we're working on it, and we'll raise the funds for it. So, and the last thing I'm looking for is, I'd like to put the shade sail post on the inside of the fence instead of in the social area. Reason being, sunshine. Somebody wasn't smart enough to tell me that I should put the fence over farther, but that's when we talked about the fence and the water tower. So now what we're talking about is 3 posts that we would like to see. Wrong page. Right, here's one. This picture right here. I have numerous different pictures, but ultimately there's these 3 posts on the outside and these 3 posts over here. What we want to put right outside the fence is what we'd like to do. And it takes a 2-foot hole. I mean, these things takes a 2-foot hole by 4 or 5 foot deep. So there's a lot of, stress on a shade sail. So that's, instead of putting it here, the shade will totally change if we move it in like 3 feet or 4 feet. Now, all of a sudden, we're just not gonna get as much shade on this area. So that's why I thought, well, let's put it out here, and that way it won't interfere with this concrete being poured. I still have to do them over here. Anyway, so bottom line, approval for sidewalk, donor building, placement of the donor building, doesn't matter if it's somewhere in there. And then can we put those 3 posts on the inside of the fence?
Well, my understanding is.
That's what I'm asking.
When you're looking at this picture.
Yeah.
The left side of the building, they were anticipating, I believe, that's where they want to put possible future restrooms.
The restrooms? What, I'm sorry, I didn't hear
The restrooms.
Possible restrooms in the future, right?
Yeah.
I can.
Where?
On the back side of the building. No, that wasn't the.
Well, that's what somebody said, but that was never the town's intent to put them there. We plan to put them out in the front.
Like out here,
Yeah, you tuck them back away, you know
Like up
what's
here.
gonna happen.
Okay.
So we were gonna put them up in front of
Like right
them.
here.
Kind of where like the old volleyball court was.
Got it, plan up here,
up here, in front of the water can,
right there.
that tree.
Okay.
And then as the park expands, I mean, our good plan was the park would expand and then the toilets would be in the center of the park as a whole.
Well, and we're proposing sidewalks on both sides of that fence to come up and around the water treatment area. I don't know if we can see them when they're on.
The green.
Yeah, there they are.
The green one.
That is, yeah. We're proposing to go all the way around that.
But she's talking about the restroom out here.
See it back over here, like where the drive is.
Well, that's what she's saying, yeah.
You would want a
You
sidewalk.
might be able to put it in a number of places, I don't know. Depends on where the sanitary services are. I mean, you can move it. I don't think there's anything in our way here. Of course, we have to call to find out to make sure there's nothing there. But
What was the poles inside the fence?
Yeah, with regard to the shade sail poles inside the fence, I know last time we had this conversation talking about
yeah,
moving that fence, we're still gonna have the same recommendations for offsets from that tower.
okay.
For things, obstructions or impediments placed within that range.
Well, the posts are farther down away from the pinch area than what we were before. So I'm thinking that
Yeah, but we still want to measure the offset, the distance from the, I can't remember if we referenced distance from the legs of the tower or what. But yeah, I remember the discussion where the fence on the north side of the tower is closer than the fence that was on the east side. So we still want to use that as a guideline for spacing.
You're correct. Yeah, you are correct, yeah. Actually, almost the fence is almost even with the side of the tower.
It's probably pretty close to the drip line, the edge of it. So picture when we have to do maintenance on that tower, you gotta drape around it, and that drapery needs to be able to come unobstructed all the way down to the ground.
Do you feel as though these poles would be in the way then?
Without knowing the
Yeah,
distances, I don't
go
know.
out and measure it and look at it.
Because we gave you distance that the fence on the east side could be moved in, I don't know how far you moved it in. If you used all of that distance that was available or not, so.
Well, moving the fence would be much more costly than digging 3
But
holes.
but what he's saying is if we took some of what he gave us for whatever the word is, that,
Yeah, I didn't give it to you.
and you used it, he doesn't know how much is left. They would have to come and
Yeah,
measure
if
it.
you were,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes,
Am
So
I
we're
correct?
gonna do the same thing we did before.
basically.
Yeah. Okay.
It'd be easier to stay
And
on,
I can give you exact dimensions once I have them.
it'd probably be easier to stay on the outside of the fence. You gotta think about putting it up and possibly taking it down. You're gonna have to have people on both sides. You're gonna risk tearing a shade sail and a barbed wire.
Yeah.
And I mean, from an installation standpoint, it'd be easier to stay on the outside of the fence.
On the outside, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just have to coordinate a time you guys can come. Is that okay?
I'm gonna,
What if you replace
I'm gonna
that
take
section
your
of fence?
information, let us look
What
it over,
if you replace that
Sure.
section
And-
of fence by using those?
talk
poles?
with our,
And
all
that's,
of our people.
If you have questions, yeah.
Yeah, and then we
I'm
can
happy
call
to
in
sit
and
down with
talk to
somebody.
you.
the concern is how close those
Right.
poles are to the tank. And we don't want them any closer than what the fence on the north side of the tank is.
Right.
So prior to the discussion about the poles, that fence on the east side had been moved in some.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was all of the amount that it quote unquote could be moved in. So if you could move it 6 feet, did you move it 6 feet? Did you move it 4 feet? I don't know the
Well,
answer to that.
I don't know off my head.
Right, nobody, so we can go through that exercise.
At least 20-some feet from the, where it tied into the big 10-foot fence on the court. I do know that. And I guess we could have moved it the same distance as what we had on the east side.
On the most restrictive side.
But we're not, I know that we're not that far.
Okay.
So,
So yeah, we'll take this under advisement, talk to everybody we need to talk to, and we can call and ask you questions. I
sure,
think we all got your number.
I'll look forward to whoever.
And I know you probably have, and we probably have those measurements.
I think the one point that we want to make is that the group has seen a really good thing that's happening at the park, and we want to continue to do this. I understand, you know, you've got to go through all the iterations of the things that you have to go through to find out if it's okay, but we have a lot of people that want to help and donate, and so,
And we
We think
appreciate
it's a
all
really
you,
good
yeah, we appreciate all you've done now.
Nice, yeah,
Yeah.
really nice.
yeah, so that's what we're looking for. Okay, thank you.
How tall berms were you thinking?
I'm sorry.
How tall berms were you thinking?
That's the next,
How tall it burns.
Oh. I don't know until they look about right. Dad, I don't want to be smart, but.
He's not gonna build a mountain.
Well, I mean, mowing, I mean.
Oh, yeah, I'm talking about the mowing and stuff.
Yeah. We're not gonna make anything that you can't mow. First of all, you have to have a lot of dirt to do that. Huh?
We're leaving it flat.
Well, yeah. One of the things we hope to do in all this is to fix, there's a lot of holes in the park. I mean, you go running through the park, you can fall down flat on your face, and we'd like to fix those. Why we put sidewalks in, we just want to fix all that and grass seed it and all that. The berms, I don't know, but I'm thinking 2 feet, but they're gonna be probably 8 feet wide or 10 feet wide, so they wouldn't be you'll notice it, but we wouldn't want it so the mower, that's not the intention.
And then,
Now, maybe, one of the things that we've had brought up to us, and I don't want to take more time, but we've had people that's interested in adopt a spot, and they would like to see us put in bushes, and they would maintain, I don't know whether they would or not, but we have people that are interested in doing that, that have asked about it. I shouldn't say they're interested in doing it. So I don't know if they are, but again, it gets the community involved. If it does, it's a positive thing. It brings more people to town.
Right.
We build more houses. It's a good thing.
Right, you have something.
Thank you.
where the water drains from the drainage put in, I mean, isn't that like where you suggest sidewalk and?
The water drainage, I don't,
We
it's
put
not,
the
it's not
drains
under
in
the sidewalk.
along the sidewalk. We've talked to some people in the town about putting a tile in, and if we can put a tile in and get it to the drain, we'll put it in. But I know the elevation's there, I just don't know whether we can tie into that drain or not. And that's something that we're discussing.
Yeah.
We do know there's a drain there.
Well, I know like off the court, you ran that to that area,
Yeah,
that low spot.
yeah, and it goes into that, we have a rock filled down at 3 feet down. But we would extend that, it would be the plan, we would extend, get rid of that pipe and extend that drain all the way out to the front where there is a drain. That's what we'd like to do, but I didn't put it in the plan because I don't know whether we can tie into that drain. And until we know for sure, I'm not gonna draw it in a plan.
Yeah.
But yes, it would be a good idea to continue with the drainage, I don't disagree. And we're happy to do it. We just gotta know whether or not it's okay to drain into that pipe.
Because we already got a lot of water on that end of town.
Yeah.
Draining to our plants.
We don't have a lot of drainage coming out of that pipe. I've been down there when it's pouring down rain, and yeah, it doesn't get out there fast. So.
Okay.
But yeah, okay,
That's good.
thank you.
All right, thank you.
Happy weekend, everybody.
You too.
Thanks.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the brown stream. Is already.
That's the drains that takes whatever it takes out.
And.
Where you test Did you get that?
Test diet, tried testing,
Yeah, I tested it.
Gemini tested, and it came out of sewer plant.
Yeah.
He's
Not
like,
so
yeah.
Yeah. There's the same thing.
I agree, because everything backs up down there. Where our new place that is, will, if in a good hard rain, will steam in the water. So it would be great to drain the pond,
Right.
but if we're causing more of an issue when we already can't get it out of town quick enough, I don't know what that, number would be. Like, I don't know if it's a big impact or not.
We can look at it.
It probably makes its way there one way or another now. It just might get there faster if it's a direct connection.
Or it might still puddle and pond, but might drain a little quicker and not stay for days. But just stay for hours or a day kind of thing. Whereas it's,
So
right now, it might set wet for a week if it's.
We just didn't want it to end up at the sewer plant still,
Right.
like more. We were trying to fix that problem, let's not add more to the problem.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Yeah. So we've got things to look at there in multiple facets.
Yeah.
Okay,
But it is beautiful.
it is beautiful,
Yeah.
and I'm really nice. No. All right, we're gonna move on to claims. Finally getting claims tonight. General 13,889.02, MVH 6,000, donation to parks 79.79, Otterburn Utilities 50, the CCD Fund 71531, the Okra Grant funded projects 53352, water operating 3,191.22, wastewater treatment operating 2742.39, payroll 2664.58, for a grand total of $29,865.81.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the claims for May 21st, 2026.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Department head reports. Ms. Truva, you're on.
I am. So it's that time of year for the Otterman Street Festival. It'll be actually starting on Friday evening, July 31st, and then Saturday, August 1st. Let me find my page. I do know that Friday night will be bingo. There will be movie. The library is gonna host a movie. We used to call it Movie in the Park. I'm not sure where they're planning, but it's gonna be somewhere. Using the town's equipment, our joint partnership that we've always had with the library for movies. Then they are gonna bring back kids alley, cakewalk, pedal tractor, space painting. They're gonna try to bring back booth vendors. The car show will be there, food trucks, and leading up to the evening event of the flying toasters again. So in 22, obviously that was a big year because it was our 150th celebration. We gave a lot of money that year, $7,000. In 2023, there wasn't one, so no money. 2024, we gave $2,000, and last year we gave $1,000. So I just wanted you to have the history of what we've done in the past. Before then, we were giving like 500. So, but the last several years we've been giving a little more. So whether you want to donate or not, they're asking for a donation. So
Do we have the money for the $1,000 donation?
for $1,000, yes, we have the money in the promotional fund.
I would say 1,000. Let's agree on 1,000.
Make a motion.
I'll make a motion to donate 1,000 for the festival in August.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
At the dedication at the park on Saturday, I pointed out to some of you the shade cell base plates, and they needed covers. Dave was able to reach out to the company that's given us a quote, and this is what they're pricing us to have done. And it would put together, you can pass it down. This one's a square one, but ours is round, so that's what they sent us. In the meantime,
Well, the base plate is
And the
square,
base plate.
right,
so where it touches the ground is square, but it has to connect to a round column, so
Water.
they have it iron graded.
okay.
So this would cover.
Right, so it looked like that. Okay.
So Russell also reached out because we thought the price was very steep at base plates with shipping average to $435.25 a piece.
We need two.
One or two, whatever y'all decide. Two of them are in the mulch buried, so I think that's, those need them. So he's reached out to Row Truck, and they were going over today to look at it, so hopefully we'll have a comparable price, maybe a cheaper price. We don't know, but we're getting a second quote. But so we can keep this going and get it covered as quick as possible. I would like for you guys to do a not to exceed of this amount and how many you want. So if we get it cheaper, great. If not, we can get this order placed.
Is that 435 a piece?
So Craig and Brad and Amy, you were the three that actually looked. One.
I'm not sure how this fixes a trip hazard. Right?
Other than that, not being
This is a trip hazard as well.
Right.
It's almost identical, if not bigger.
Maybe
Right,
they
it
can
sticks
see
out
better.
farther into the walking path.
Yeah.
So that's my concern. I mean, I understand we're doing it, but we're really doing it to cover up the bolts.
Mhm.
That's all it's really doing. Because you're not elevating it so that you don't walk closer to it. If you walk that close to it, you're gonna be tripping on it anyway. Whether it's this, you're just gonna be kicking this. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
If you cover up the sharp edges and the underneath part of the open part of the.
So you don't get your toes underneath
So
it.
you won't get stuff wedged under there and somebody won't kick it with their sandals and then cut their foot.
I mean, to me, if we were gonna have something like this, I would prefer that it goes up higher, roughly about 3 feet, and then that makes people walk around it as opposed to,
Put a little counter on, set your drink on it.
maybe so. I'm just saying, it's still a trip hazard, which was the one that was, right? So,
They wouldn't have a round, would they? Do they make round?
like a ball, it would go
That
up.
would get even bigger because it'd go out to the edges of the corners on the square parts and then it'd be rounded, it'd be farther out, so it'd be a bigger thing. We could
Okay.
inquire if they make something like that or if Roe could add something like that as well. I would recommend it be fairly thick material so it didn't get dented, because it would if it was thin. I don't know the gauge on that material that they provided there, but anything could get dented if it gets hit hard enough, but.
I mean, I get the whole not getting your foot, some kid going, look, mom, I can stick my foot under there, I get that. I've had 2 buddies.
And we talked and discussed about having the thing encased in the concrete before it was ever done, and there's good and bad with either option. You have to break concrete to ever take the bolts back off and access that. It's encased so that there's gonna be some expansion material around that column that's gonna let moisture in, and over time that's gonna rust, it's gonna cause freeze and thaw issues and probably break the concrete as well. So this option was selected before the concrete was even poured. So the trip hazard or whatever is the negative of having it accessible.
I'm okay with the not to exceed 435. And I think at least one. I didn't look at the one that's.
So how many showing? How many?
2.
Oh,
2 are covered by mulch, sunk in the ground covered by mulch.
But that second one would easily be covered with,
We could
Some
cover
material.
it with mulch. So, but the one on the
One would be
concrete,
sufficient.
yeah.
Where's the money coming from? We still have money left over from the project to be able to cover this, or?
If we do not have money in the project, because we're still reconciling all of that, if we don't, then we can take it out of our CEDAP fund or our maintenance fund, so there is money, I just don't know which bucket it's gonna fit in at, but
So I say at least one. For the one on the concrete, and then maybe we can mulch the other one or something. So I'll make the motion to not to exceed 435 for one.
And I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Nay. That's the first nay I've heard in 8 months. Just saying.
Probably a good name, because there might be other options, but.
okay. Then, we have received, it came in the mail, and I'll have to look at the envelope. That didn't say, I don't know if the envelope said it or not. Most of a lot of stuff doesn't say it, but we'll look and see if it did. It's supposed to be done by the 15th of May, so, Judd, just you take over. Are we
Sure.
gonna do it? Not too,
It is a compliance form you have to file every year, when you receive the tax abatement. It's a Form CF1 for real property. And they report what they suggested they were going to do in their statement of benefits when they kicked off the tax abatement at the beginning. They said they were gonna add X number of jobs and have this much investment, and what they've actually delivered, how many jobs they actually have, and how much property they actually delivered in improvements. And it's signed under oath, and then based on receiving that compliance form, you're supposed to decide whether they have substantially complied. And if they substantially complied, then you sign off on it, and they're gonna get credit for the tax abatement again for this upcoming tax year. And in this case, the requirement is that it be delivered to the town and to the assessor by May 15th. And so I was wondering what the envelope that this came in looked like, if it was stamped prior to May 15th, because there is a rule in the tax world called the mailbox rule, which is when you put it in the mailbox, that's considered delivered for calculating days or timely filings or whatnot. And so I don't know that when it was put in the mail, very plausible that it was put in the mail, even if it showed up today, it was put in the mail before May 15th, and it may be that the envelope doesn't say so. That's not fatal to the request. If the envelope said it was put in the mail on May 16th, that's late. And in order for you to consider what's supposed to happen is you're supposed to do a waiver of non-compliance hearing and let the public, if anybody wants to be heard on that, have their say, and then you decide to waive that non-compliance. You're in charge for all tax abatement issues that you've granted. The Department of Local Government Finance would say you decide whether that's okay or not okay, and what you say goes. So if we don't have the envelope, I would guess I would proceed with the assumption that it was put in the mail, because it actually came from an accountant, not just from Road Truck or FERPO. And I've seen many letters from that accounting firm, and they're always on time. I will tell you, that's my experience. They probably did them all at the same time, and they probably put them all in the mail on May 15th, knowing the mailbox rule, thinking that they covered the deadline. Another thing about this is the ordinance that granted them the abatement was from 2013. And I'm positive you haven't done any abatements longer than 10 years since I've been representing you, which is before that. And, well, that's about that. But the way that ordinance is numbered tells me I was on board when you did it, because I know I changed your numbering system. So that's one of my numbers, not one of the old attorney's numbers. But it says that they projected that they were going to complete their construction in 2014, which means their first assessment would have been on the 2015 paid 2016 taxes. And it says they actually completed construction on January 1st, 2015. And I don't know if they really completed that New Year's Day, they completed their construction or not. That may be an attempt to get it into one more year. What's important is they have 10 years of abatement. Probably 100% in year one, 90 in year two, 80 in year three, all the way down to when it comes online at the end of the taking 10% off every year, adding 10% on every year. This year may be this may be their 11th year, is what I'm saying. And so if you find that they have substantially complied, but you don't know when they started paying taxes on it, because you'd have to know when they started getting assessed on it. And the auditor or the assessor may have started that when it was partially complete. They don't all wait to 100% completion to start. If it looks like it's substantially complete, they'll go ahead and start the assessment. If you're going to find that that's substantially complied, which it may, and they're way over the numbers that they projected, so it looks like they delivered what they said they were going to deliver. There's a box you can check with other information, and I suggest you check other and say, not sure when they began getting their deduction, but it was a 10-year deduction. So when the assessor receives that from you with the president and clerk signature on it, they're going to go look. And it may be, we had in Attica, people were turning in, a taxpayer was turning in forms on a 2012 ordinance. And they were getting an abatement and it's off the 10-year chart. I don't even know, they were given some fraction off their taxes and it wasn't even authorized. And so we tried to, you're allowed to go back and recollect taxes for 3 years. We tried to go back and get the property taxes back that we were supposed to be getting, but we had to fight for it. And so what I'm saying is if you check that other box and say you're not sure when the first year was that they received the abatement, that this abatement may be over, they're gonna look. If they still have 1 year left, if this is their final year, they're gonna see substantial compliance and they're gonna get their last abatement. But they may be in the final year or past the final year. I just don't know when they started deducting. That one would be right on the border. If you saw their envelope that came in and it was stamped after May 15th, they're not in substantial compliance until we have a non-compliance hearing. And you say it's okay that they file it late, it's common. A lot of people build whatever they're gonna build and then ask for an abatement, and that also requires a waiver of non-compliance. That happens all the time, or they order the equipment before they receive the personal property abatement and have to do a waiver of non-compliance. That happens all the time. It's very routine stuff. I'm just saying, the envelope, if we have it, we tail to tail. If you don't have the envelope, the fact that it came from an accountant would tell me it was probably filed in a timely manner, probably on May 15th.
Which is probably why I received it yesterday.
So, but noticeably, the signature line doesn't have a date on it. That blank is blank. So if I saw May 16th, I know that it was filed late. If I saw May 14th, I'd say it was probably filed on time. But we can't look at that date. So if you see the envelope, I'd look. If the envelope isn't there,
Just got it.
here we go. From the accounts.
What is that?
So they use one of their stamping machines where you can print your own stamps and you get a little discount from the postal service from doing that. And it wasn't canceled, so you can't tell when it was done. So I mean, I would assume that that was timed.
Of course.
They do a lot of tax abatement work, not just for Row and Furbo, but in Attica, they do Williamsport businesses.
In other words, their little stamping machine got a lot of work that day.
Yeah, well, they probably run the stamps, some administrative assistant probably ran the stamps earlier that week, and they were all waiting to go in the mail and probably to the mailbox on May 15th. So you've got this form, and they projected they would add 42 jobs, and they've got 115. They projected that the payroll would be 1.2 million, and it's 3-point-something million.
Who's that?
Furbo is the LLC that owns real estate of Road Truck. That's one of the LLCs that owns the real estate. And what's the other one that owns the personal property? Furbo and
It's usually, I think it's just for the road truck, isn't it?
they've got another LLC, and when they may not have any pending tax abatements, they've got another LLC that they,
Because normally we get two.
yeah, you would see one for the ownership of the personal property and the other LLC's names.
So they have 100, they've added 115 employees in Otterman because they also own property in Lafayette, right?
I think what they're,
Their truck is in Lafayette too.
yeah, I understand what you're saying. I think what they're saying is they didn't add 115. I think they've added 73.
Okay. So they've added 73 in Otterman. They promised 42, which I don't know here, but I would assume that would have been 42 in Otterman.
I don't know that we make for any business. I don't know that you look at just their location where they're, so it would be anywhere within the town of Otterman, which may be on the Tippecanoe County side. I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with Otterman. But if all those jobs were created in Lafayette,
On the south side or something. I hear what you're saying.
right, because they have road truck in Lafayette
Right.
And Kokomo.
and Coke, yeah. So that's what I wanted to understand, because if we're giving a tax abatement, it ought to be because we're creating jobs in Otterman, not elsewhere.
So other things that you can do with this is table it and invite them to your next meeting to answer questions about it. Attica does that all the time. That's no big deal either. And you could ask them, when did you put this in the memo? I would expect them to say, my accountant did it on May 15th. Or they don't know, which is probably the truth. And I would not use that issue without proof that they violated that issue. And I don't think you got anything to show it was late.
Otherwise, we just check other and let the county clerk check the tax records.
The auditor would see that note. If you added that note, it would just be that sentence that we don't know when the deduction began, but they may be past
Probably
year
don't have the other one. Because normally they come around the same time.
The same accountant's preparing the same
Right,
documents.
so it's fine, we don't have the other.
Oh, so I don't know that it was a 2013 ordinance, it may have been a 2012 ordinance. And they may know that it expired. I mean, the fact that an accountant is submitting that tells me an accountant believes they're not through their abatement period yet. That's also helpful enough, but I'd call it out just by looking at the ordinance number and the date they said they would complete it. In 2014, it should be up. They should have been assessed 10 years by now. So, and
So-
I'm check that.
Their signature with that checkbox basically approves it for modern.
First, you take a vote, somebody would make a motion to find that they are in substantial compliance based on those numbers that I just told you, about salaries and employees. And if that passes, you check this, they've substantially complied, or you can say that they have not substantially complied and that you're gonna hold a hearing on it. And so, say that they reported that, half the employees aren't there anymore. I mean, you might say, we're only gonna give you half of what's left on your abatement because you didn't deliver everything that you promised you were gonna deliver. Or we only invested half of what we told you we were going to. You may say you did nothing. I mean, you've been abated enough, time to start paying taxes.
So I guess the other side of that is if I think through the employees and they say this was their promise, if they look at that and say, well, we didn't promise we were gonna do it in autumn. Right, we promised we were gonna add all these employees and we did that. There was no stipulation here that said it had to be autumn, it could be Kokomo, Lafayette, wherever, right? So then they could come back and say that as well, right?
Sure could, yeah.
Okay.
So we gotta decide if they were, one, in compliance. Which,
Substantial compliance.
Substantial.
They know they're not gonna be perfect. It won't be right on, if they're said in year 10, they delivered exactly what they promised in year 1. I mean, they literally should be buying lottery tickets and doing things, games of chance, because they can see the future.
which it looks like they are technically in substantial compliance. So I'll need a motion that for both is in substantial compliance.
Or do we wanna have a hearing and talk to them? Anybody else?
But, I mean, you're only talking 1 year.
Yes.
And they've been getting.
Or not.
Or not.
Depending on what the other
The
finds
the
out.
fact that the accountant sent it tells me there's one.
And they would be in the lower end of that percentage.
So they'll be paying 90% of their taxes on whatever they added 10 years ago, not on all their taxes, just what they added 9 years ago, 10 years ago.
Maybe not worth fine.
Because they'll be like, well, we've done it for all these other years. and blah,
Right.
blah, blah. Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve it and check
Check the other.
the other.
And I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We'll check the other, I'm sure it's just my signature on that. Probably yours.
It's got Teresa's too.
And we'll see what the others is.
Did you have other CF1 forms come in this year?
No, that was the only one.
Wow. You used to have, there were times when you had 4,
4 or 5 of them.
I think at one time we had 5 tax statements going on.
so you get some tax dollars coming in, except for maybe that, the old grocery store, that, okay, is he in operation still?
Yes.
I don't know that he added what he said he was gonna add though, because he's never
Okay,
come
he's-
back with a.
He has, we didn't get one for him last year.
We haven't, I don't know that we've ever got one,
He-
maybe one.
The first year he asked for one and I said he didn't do what he said he was supposed to do. I mean, it's not even open.
Yeah, it looks
The old
like
grocery
crap.
store.
Here's one. The bio place.
He was gonna add some equipment to it, and I think he asked for a real estate agreement because he was gonna add, I think he added the they in the back.
Yeah, that was it.
And he never came to the hearing that he was asked to come answer questions about, because we never saw any employees there. And so that was the end of that.
And it's looking like a junk around it, right in the middle of town.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if we can do anything about that or talk with him or what, but it's not it looks awful and junky.
Jason?
Yeah,
One of those
I
at the
have to
end
talk
of
to Jason about a lot of things.
the street too.
Other, I see you have a complete sweep in front of you.
Yes, Mr. Shop got on May 3rd.
Oh, yeah, he got in trouble.
On May 3rd, he got a quote from Complete Sweep. And this one was for, gonna do it in May and then June, July, and September. And then I said, May's going to be over. And so he went back and got a second quote on the 4th. And it said, so basically, we'll have them do the main cleaning in June, the first cleaning, which is always more, it's $1,400. And then in July and September, because last year we went to every other month. And that is $962.50 each of those times, for a total of $3,325 for them to come clean our streets 3 times.
What did we pay last year?
I do not know what we did last year. It's been like this. We've been, the last couple times, we were like, is there other firms, is there other prices? Do we just go back to the guys getting the room out and doing that? Because it is getting very salty to do for 3 times, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And honestly, I know by their hopper they're picking stuff up, because they have to dump, they dump out here for it. You see stuff, but the very next day, you can't even tell they've been through town, so I don't know. Not my
If
call.
you see him go
just
through
that's
right
the-
at that time, it looks clean, but a little bit later, it's like.
Because we live out in Benton County and things are blowing out here. So we get a lot of blowing winds.
But then it's nice to say we used to sweep by hand, but are we really gonna? Probably not. We probably don't have enough manpower.
We don't have
to do
manpower. The
that.
guys have enough time.
I'm just
I'm
saying.
afraid Russell will say I'm done.
No.
Maybe more than it's supposed to.
Yeah, one of those power burns for the skid steer.
No, not because it lacks the use, the brushes don't hold up, and those are very costly.
$3,000.
Sam on Amazon make a robotic one that'll just do the whole town for us. Comes and parks itself.
Actually, they do
What
have,
is that? Roomba? Yes.
Roomba, the big Roomba, the town size Roomba, a street Roomba.
Yes.
A street walker, a street Roomba.
I hope somebody's watching and they're building one right now.
Sure they are.
Yep. A little bit
They're on
on
YouTube, so
Oh,
sure,
they got
you'll
that
get an
new-
ad for it later.
They got that new robot out there unveiling at the 500 this weekend that's supposed to sniff out things.
Oh, yeah?
Mhm.
Right.
Big
It's a
robot.
good place to do it.
Uh-huh. Sure, his nose will be very active.
I don't know if there's any other people that go around and do this. Did you have,
Long time ago, Fort Wayne was the closest one we could get somebody to come.
because it seems like there's a lot Once I do parking lots, but I don't know if they do streets.
I don't
See
know.
somebody on the driveway,
What do you guys think? I don't.
they have 1,000.
It's kind of me.
They do a lot. Maybe it's our equipment, I don't know if they do some of their, so, sweeping.
I mean, driving around town, a lot of it looks fairly cleaned up from all the rain we got.
And they don't do all the streets anyway, they only do the ones with curbs.
For the sidewalk, so it's
So that's
mainly
even,
Main Street and
West.
Oxford.
And we went back to them before and had a reduction in days because they did like everything, but he just basically offset his cost to incorporate the same amount over half the I've been on.
Gotcha.
So,
So it only be for 3 months and
You'll get a little over $1,000 a month for every $1,000 trip.
The first time's the most, and then if the other times aren't as bad, then he just bills the time that he's here. It may not be $900.
it usually is. I've never seen it not be what he's estimated it to be.
What do you think, Ron? Is it beneficial for the town? Can you tell a difference a couple of days after they come and leave?
Well, you can on certain streets, like Otterman Street's gotta be the worst street in town,
Yeah, that's true.
because it's got all those trees, got the little balls on it, and they're a mess. That and South Main.
And that comes from what? Kelly?
It comes from our NVH.
Is there money there to do it, or are we depleting it?
We are depleting, but every dollar we save doing maintenance to our streets like that is money we
Something
can
else.
pave something,
Yeah.
patch something.
Well, maybe can we not do it this year and see how bad it looks or what we think, and then if we want to do it next year, then we can always call them in.
I mean, it doesn't hurt to do a test run 1 year to see what it would be like.
And maybe what if we just hired them to do it one time, just before the,
That's what I was
Street
wondering.
festival.
Can they come one time and do it before the street festival?
I would say so.
That would be my thought,
So get a quote for one time before the street festival.
at the end of like the last week in July or something.
Yeah.
And then we can discuss it next time.
That's mainly when everybody's having garage sales and everybody will be in town.
Right. And we can just see. And if people start
If people
complaining,
complain in June and July, then we know.
yeah, okay.
That's all I got.
anything else?
did, place at door thing?
Do what?
That white place up?
Oh, so the playset, I called and they are very excited. However, they do not take, they have to have a 10% down payment, and they do not take credit cards. They only take cash or checks. So I am driving a check down there on Saturday.
Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh.
So it's down by, so, do what?
where's it at?
They don't
Oh,
want
it's
to pay
down
that
by
3%
Rockville,
credit
it's
card fee.
Amish.
Oh, okay.
Road trip.
Yes.
So,
It's probably because they're Amish and don't have the ability to take a credit card.
That's true.
Um,
That's true.
they take cash or check, so I'm gonna take a check and I said, and we're a government, so it's tax exempt. I need an ST 105. I go, I've got that and I will bring that with me. So, they didn't give me a date because they wanted to make sure I was on the books, as an order first, but they didn't sound like it would take very long to get them up here to get it installed, so.
Okay, that's nice. They're gonna
And
install
they're
it.
not gonna worry about the 51
I was gonna say the
miles.
1 mile.
They
Okay,
said
that's
it'll
good.
be okay, is what I got told. It'll be okay. So it was like a very nice group. It's just, I didn't want to trust the mail and then
Yeah.
not be like there making sure we're getting the order placed. So we're gonna go down and
And
take
take a
it.
drive.
Take the drive and take it to them, so.
There'll be a lot of owners big stand on the side and stuff too.
So we go this.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I got one.
Yes, sir.
Last month, and it's been a month since I've seen Dave Fisher, the Benton County Surveyor, came to me and he was interested in the 4th Street, the H.W. Moore ditch on 4th Street, from Main Street to the west down to Church Street. He and the county's interested in putting in a tile and that, covering up that ditch with, they'll bed it in gravel, it'll be a 36-inch tile.
Dave,
Did
make
he
a
say,
phone call.
did he say why? I hope on spending any money until we finish working with Tippecanoe County and
Okay.
all of that.
Dave, make a phone call.
I can give Dave a call.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like what actually.
So which way is that? Because they did that on the east side of Main Street, right? All that, because that used to be ditched back
Yeah.
behind there.
Yeah,
Does it run?
it runs in the tile from Main Street, kind of under the house. It's right there and nobody knows for sure exactly where it goes. And it makes its way under the railroad track and in daylights and turns back east and goes in an open ditch around the wastewater plant. And it goes
It's
under,
supposed to go to Ogden ditch.
it does go to our
It does,
ditch.
it goes underneath.
road truck.
It goes underneath road truck.
It's not supposed to go under buildings and have the restrictions like being in pipes and
Right.
unless it's been designed to do that. And that's one of the things that this South Bend Stormwater Study has been looking at.
Okay. So, and the road truck is the old Han Craft building.
Mhm.
Yes. There's a box culvert to their foundation and it goes right under the building.
Okay.
But it's bigger than 36 inches.
It is decent size, but I don't think it was engineered. I think it was just, well, we'll just do this.
Yeah, do it kind of way.
Even Tiffany County's probably
Tiffany
got
County,
it,
yeah.
but we didn't have these other church.
And in the drainage rule or laws, that's a bi-county drainage branch of the Outerman Ditch. And Benton County has jurisdiction over the H.W. Moore branch, even though it's in Tippecanoe County.
Okay.
And Tippecanoe County has jurisdiction over Outerman Ditch. And then the county surveyor is doing an entire watershed study of all of Outerman Ditch, which includes this. So I don't know why Dave would want to do work on it now, knowing that study's going on.
So yeah, please check into that.
Yeah, that sounds.
I actually got to meet with Zach about it. First of June.
Okay, anything else? Okay, I'll take a motion to adjourn at 7:50.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?